Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. My name is Laquan Dawson. I am a photographer and filmmaker representing GLAD and Neon right now, and we are having a Q&A with Miss Jamila Wignot, who is the director of the film you just watched.
Hi.
First of all, I want to
Can I do one thing before
Yes,
we do this?
yes.
Because this is only the second time that I've seen the film with an audience, so I'm going to stand here while my friend Darcy takes a photo. So everybody. Okay, thank you for indulging.
First, I want to say
We're in a theater!
congratulations. This was a beautiful, beautiful, stunning film. You guys did a phenomenal job with it. This is my third time seeing it, and each experience was different. I saw it at the Lincoln Center outside on the huge screen. I saw it at home with my friend on my laptop screen, and then I saw it here, and each time it was just different. And I would say here, like actually in the theater, indoors, it was very emotional, and like I'm like up close seeing different things and stuff. And yes, so congratulations. So first I want to ask, how are you feeling? Today is officially release day. You've done a bunch of screenings, but today is in theaters. How are you feeling?
This really feels amazing. And similarly, I just saw the film Uptown, and I had the same experience. It was just so nice to be back in like the womb of the theater where we all get to come together collectively and experience this story. And it was the dream that me and my incredible team at Insignia Films always had for this. It is dance and it deserves the big screen. So this is just amazing.
And I got it. I'm wondering, what were your goals with this? Because I think that you surpassed a lot of things that maybe you initially were going for, and I know that it got picked up and it got bought, and now it's wider and wider. What were your initial goals, and what did you want people to take away with it initially when you picked up the project?
So in the beginning, I think the linchpin for this film was really these audio recordings that we were able to have access to from the Ailey Company of Mr. Ailey in the last year of his life. Really, kind of having a kind of exercise of memory himself, of trying to think through. He made those recordings as part of a process of making an autobiography, and so thinking about the memories that mattered most to him and the kinds of things that he wanted to share in the last year of his life, in which, and he was ill at the time, that became really the foundation for us. And it was really about feeling and emotion and capturing on film a sense of this extraordinary character who's this, wonderful, open, vulnerable, beautiful man that I think for those of us who love the company, we were all very aware of his work. I don't think we had a sense of, who the founder was and all that it took for him to create this extraordinary institution that's so thriving and vibrant today. So that's kind of what we wanted to capture. And of course, we always wanted it to be in theaters. So here we are, dreams come true.
Congratulations again. As a creator, I'm wondering, there was a line that really stood out to me in the film by George Faison. He said, creation is lonely in that no one can help you, something around those lines. And one of my biggest takeaways from the film was community and how important community was to him specifically, to Mr. Ailey himself. And just like the support from his mother, from Ms. Jameson, from Bill Hammond, from just all these people, and just so many people. So what is your interpretation of that specific line? It was really powerful, and it means something to me. I'm not fully sure yet what it means yet, because community is important to me, and as a creator myself, and you as a creator, I would love to just hear what you why you included that line.
That line really spoke to me and my director because, we are people who strive to make beautiful work. And I think there is a moment for all of us where it is terrifying. It is terrifying to confront your limitations. It's terrifying to have a bar that you're trying to achieve and feel like you do not have the wherewithal to achieve it. It can lay you flat. And I don't know that I experienced it to the degree that Mr. Ailey did, but I think for him, the added pressure of that was the ways in which he had to also, carry a whole people with him. His company is one of the first dance companies to offer opportunities to Black dancers in the way that it did. It's obviously, performing works that are showcasing, I would argue, the realities of the beautiful things that define Black life. And I think that was important for him to show the humanity of Black people. And that's just like an extraordinary charge for him to have, in addition to just being an individual man who wants to make beautiful work. And I think he was a very lonely person. And so the flip side of that coin is knowing when to ask for help. And for me, I think part of what you see realized on this screen is the fact that I had so much help. I had so many people in my corner, so many people who were there to catch me when I felt like, we weren't going to do justice to this man and his legacy. And I think there were times for him that he didn't have that. So I think creation can be very lonely, and I think you have to be willing to kind of reach out. And I think in his darkest moments, he found that really difficult.
Before I saw the film, my friend and colleague Deshaun, he invited me to the film, and my first thought was like, I hope they don't like pretend like there was not queer things happening, or I hope they don't skip that over, because with GLAD we wanted to do a project one time that was for the Black History Month last year that was honoring legacy figures, and Mr. Ailey was someone on our list, but we were warned to not, touch it and try to put the word gay in his mouth or anything like that. And so I was really, really pleasantly surprised that you guys did talk about it, and we did get to have these sound bites where he's talking about touch and men that he admired and, will never forget, and, his life has been saved and stuff like that. And while still quite private and still, walked around, it was very much acknowledged, and I was appreciative of that, so thank you. So I was wondering, and I also appreciated that you acknowledged in the film that he was complicit in hiding some of these things, which is not confusing as to why in the time. But so why now do you think it's okay to talk about that and to celebrate that and mention those things?
I should say, the Ailey Company gave us access to their archive, and they did not have any editorial input in this. At the same time, I think they are really grateful for this kind of humanizing portrait that we've been able to bring. And for the team and I, the really important thing was to show him kind of early on in the film in all the ways, like to really give you a sense of all the influences that were in his life, and his queerness was very much a part of that. And we didn't want to build a story in which we would stop down and like, here's the race section, and then we move along, and then here's the dance section, and then we move along, and it's like, oh, and here's the gay section, which we haven't talked about. We just wanted him to feel like that's not how any of us live our lives, right? We have experiences, many of us have kind of really foundational experiences in our earliest years, and all of that stuff shapes like then the things that we do. And so for us, from that moment on of sort of meeting him in the Texas years, which are the years that are so foundational to his work, we hoped that you would be seeing the film through Black eyes, through the eyes of somebody who appreciated the body and movement, and through the eyes of a queer person. So there shouldn't be a moment beyond understanding him in the totality of all the things that he experienced that you stop thinking about that. And then he wrestles with it. He was intensely private. He was not out, though. I think when we talk about what it means to be publicly out, today, because we can, there's an expectation that you are out in every physical space that you're in. And that just wasn't the case then. Everybody knew within his company, people that he was close to, his mother, everybody knew about his sexuality. But, in 1958 if you think about the company sort of hitting its stride from 1958 to say 1971, do you think he's going to knock on the door of the Ford Foundation and say, I'm here, I'm the Black queer dance maker, give me all the money? Like, absolutely not. And if, in the context of the times when there is, a government, in the 50s, during the McCarthy era, they are purging, queer people from the government ranks. The State Department is ensuring that he is not kind of exercising, being visibly queer, although he still was open to everyone. So there's that. And then I think in addition to that, there's the reality that he is also just a very private person. There is a lack of romantic intimacy that I think people had exposure to, but there's just a lack of intimacy in general. For me, one of the surprising moments is interviewing Mazazumi Chaya, who worked with the company forever, and he talks about that. You know, I was invited into his apartment for the one time, and you know, the realization that he himself also said no. So there is a desire for privacy, and in a way then that privacy becomes kind of self-fulfilling, such that even the people around you now are as invested in kind of keeping you away and up there or contained. You know, and that's, you know, for us, we just wanted to present that as it just was the facts of how he was and how he lived.
Well, thank you again for including that. It warmed my heart. I feel very proud and just, you know, because I already think of Mr. Ailey as like, okay, we have him. Like we got dance. Like the black gays, we got dance. So it's nice to have kind of like an official stamp. Like, okay, we, you know, really have it.
You can embrace him and own him as yours. Yes, completely.
I also was curious about some things that were left out. I was really appreciative of the process that you were showing with the rehearsals, but you didn't show like what happened after the rehearsal. And I want you to speak to us all about why you were showing us the rehearsal, but not like the on-stage performance at the end for Lazarus. And like maybe speak to why Lazarus, which has a theme of resurrection, why that was the thread throughout the film.
I'll start with the first one, and then if I forget, remind me of the second part. Yeah, so, you know, I think part of it was informed by a couple things in Mr. Ailey's own telling, and then, you know, what some of his collaborators said. So one, when he talks about what he loves about dance, he is not saying he loves the performance where everybody stands up and gives you a standing ovation. He loves the discipline. He loves getting into a studio and working with people. He loves the idea of creating something where there was nothing before. That, and then in interviewing Sarita Allen, when she talks about the fact that at the end of his life, he still would come into the studio and want to watch people making work. And so it, for us, became really about the story of a person who's most invested in the making. And of course, it's wonderful to stage it, but, you know, the process is what seemed sort of most sacred to him. And then being in the Ailey building and feeling like here is the sacred space where this kind of tradition continues was very important to us. And then resurrection is, I think, an important theme for us because it's what you feel. If you go into that building today, and I encourage all of you to, you know, safely, but take a trip and walk into the lobby. I mean, you do feel like he is alive in everything that the company is doing. They are all there in service of his vision. And so, you know, both, I think Rennie Harris understood that as part of his process of making the dance Lazarus that he made. And it was also something that Robert Battle said, where he just said, you know, did he die in 1989? I don't think so. And lastly, of course, Miss Jameson's incredible experience at the hospital. So all of that felt like his legacy does continue. And I think, you know, for Black institutions in particular, the idea of an institution surviving its founder is sadly very rare. And so it's another part of what makes the Ailey Company so special.
Excuse me. Beautiful. And I also wanted to ask...
do you want some water?
Yes, I would love some water. Thank you. Are there any things that you left out of the film that you wish could have made it?
More dances for me. Oh gosh, I don't know. It's such an interesting process being in the edit room, because the whole point is to sort of take this mass of, you sort of build everything up from all that you gather, and then it's a process of kind of winnowing and getting a film into shape. But yeah, I think mostly it was you know, from the very beginning of the film, knowing that you are working on a film about an artist who made over 70 choreographic works, and you just cannot show all of them. And so that was tough.
It was crazy because you included a lot of them, actually. And I'm looking at all the dates. I'm like, damn. In this span of time, he choreographed all these, and they're still being performed. I saw before the pandemic, it was in December, I believe. I saw Resurrection. I think somewhere in Midtown with my friend Deshaun, the same person. And it was beautiful. And then I was watching it here, and some of the dancers who were actually on stage when I saw it were on it. And then I'm seeing like the flashback of, some of the original performances, and it looks the same. It's beautiful and it's crazy. So thinking about Resurrection too, I'm wondering, what are some moments that are like, what are some parallels from back then, and then from looking at the footage that you captured today, that excited you?
I think it's, the sort of consistency of the story, the kind of very universal, very just kind of human quality of, a community of people sort of in struggle, in despair. You see individuals, in anguish, who are in search of something, a search of some kind of salvation. There's the baptismal and the kind of initiation of being brought back into the community from isolation. And then there is the very sort of ecstatic church expression at the end, which, if you go and see the company live, what's wonderful about it is that it's so participatory, that it's not just now you in a chair as a spectator watching the company dance, it's you being a part of it. I mean, people are jumping up out of their seats, everybody knows the song, and you are then brought into the service. And I think there's just something timeless about that experience.
You spoke in a past interview too about really seeing yourself in his work. I'm wondering, like, what are some specific moments that really excite you about his work and that you really see yourself in?
I am always attracted to the solos and the anguish. That just tells you something about myself. I mean, in I Want to Be Ready, which is a solo that we don't feature here, it's just a single, supplicant there. It's a dancer who's on the floor, seeming to be in struggle to get up off the floor. I guess I just really relate to it's not the pain, it's the effort and the struggle. Maybe it's being in my 40s. I don't know. Those are the works that really speak to me.
No, same for me. The black dress moments for Cry, the dedication to woman and to his mother. It was beautiful. That was one of my favorites for sure. Well, this is beautiful, and thank you so much for this. If y'all could give her a round of applause again, please. You did that. You and your team did that. Congratulations one more time. Please soak in it. Please celebrate. Please have a drink. Please go to the beach. Whatever you need to do, and keep creating. It's important, and it's needed, and we love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.